The former US Defense Secretary Mark Esper had once said, "Strong alliances are built on strong and capable partners." He was essentially commenting on nations who were heavily dependent on military alliances to safeguard their sovereignty. An alliance is only as strong as its members. Within the alliance, too much disparity in military strength amongst its members can lead to imbalance, risking a collapse during crisis. Take NATO. For decades, the United States has been its backbone, especially against threats like Russia. Not because Europe lacks resources. Far from it. Western Europe has world-class military technology, but much of its security has been outsourced to America. Under President Trump, that dynamic has shifted. He has made it amply clear the free ride is over. Europe must pay for its own defense. And he wasn't entirely wrong. Saudi Arabia, for instance, pays the US for protection. So why shouldn't wealthy European nations do the same? Hi, and welcome to the globalheadwinds.com, your go-to platform for deep dives into geopolitics, global economics, energy, and climate change. Our focus today is on the question, how can Western Europe ensure its own security without NATO? To be fair, Trump didn't turn his back to NATO. He demanded fairness. While future US presidents may choose softer diplomacy, European leaders now recognize a key reality. America's defense guarantee isn't permanent. Though the US support for NATO remains strong, how that support plays out is increasingly uncertain. At the recently concluded NATO meeting in The Hague, Trump called for members to raise defense spending to 5% of GDP, far above his earlier 2% demand. While this shift hasn't sparked open dissent, it has deepened doubts about the consistency of US commitment. Naturally, these uncertainties raise a pressing question. Should Europe pursue a truly independent defense strategy, free from American influence? To go to that uncharted but independent territory, Europe needs a unified European military command. Not just a supplement to NATO, but a real alternative. History shows nations defend sovereignty through strong military and strong alliances. With shifting US policies and the Russia-Ukraine conflict on its eastern borders, Western Europe is in an urgent need for both a strong military and a robust, deeply entrenched alliance. But that's easier said than done. Creating a unified force will require a serious political will for the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and the Nordics. It must reflect a shared European identity and not just numbers and logistics. Then there are thorny questions. Who commands this military? Will it report to the European Union? Can the European Union president take on the role of commander-in-chief? Or will it be just a coalition force like NATO, built on pooled resources and joint command? An alliance without US support may seem simpler in the shorter term, but even that needs serious rebuilding. The reasons for this is Europe's military strength has steadily declined since the Cold War. In 1990, for instance, Britain had over 300,000 active defense personnel. Today, it's around 174,000 only. The French military is now just 2/5 of its 1990 size. Sweden's once mighty air force is down to just 212 aircraft. Rebuilding will be expensive and time-consuming. European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen stated that to build a credible defense capability against a foe like Russia, Europe will need an investment of at least 800 billion euros by 2030. But beyond money, the real challenge lies in uniting Europe's diverse military culture into a cohesive force. And then, of course, there's the nuclear question. Only the UK and France possess nuclear weapons. Will they be ready to share that infrastructure? If so, who decides in a crisis? Who gets to press the nuclear button? These are hard questions, but they must be answered by Europeans for Europe. One thing is clear, the time for a unified European military is now. That is all for today. Do tune in to the globalheadwinds.com again next week for an interesting discussion on democracies. And if you like this discussion today, please do press the subscription button below.